Tatum wanted one of those to go before his night comes to an end.
He kisses it goodbye. That's it.
It'll be another win against an MVP candidate on the other end of the floor.
Welcome to Celtics Postgame Live, presented by your New England Ford dealers and Ford trucks. Eddie House, Amina Smith here with you. And the Celtics crushed the Dallas Mavericks 124-95. Jason Tatum, as you just saw right there, triple-double for him tonight. However, Eddie, the Celtics look like they play with more energy, just more focus, more communication out there on the court. What was the biggest difference for you in how the Celtics played against Dallas?
You laid it out, Amina. You know what? I swear, you make my job so easy because you say a lot of things that I want to say, you know, and I echo what you said. They just play with more effort. They play with more energy. They play with a sense of urgency, you know, and I think that this game was a byproduct of what happened the last couple of games. And this is something that can carry over. You don't have to get smacked in the face. You don't have to get beat a couple times and get beat bad for you to carry over and say, you know what, I don't want that to happen again. You can produce that night in and night out if you want to. Effort is a thing that is inside. That's something that's a control. That's something that is controlled. You know, one of the other things, we always say control the controllables. Effort is something you can control. And tonight they controlled that, and they came out from the start. And that's what we've seen. They just played way harder. They played with more force. They played with more energy. And this was the byproduct of that.
Jason Tatum with 29, 14, and 10 in this matchup. His second career triple-double as a Boston Celtic. What was the biggest impact that Jason Tatum had in this game?
I think he also was, besides the fact that what happened the last two games, going against Luka again, going against another guy that they're looking like, at your position. This is a guy, I mean, even though Luka has the ball in his hand, but a guy that's your size, a guy that can do some of the same things that you can do. He's not a big man like Jokic is, so you could kind of like look at like, oh, they're not the same. No, when you look at the way Luka plays and the way Jason Tatum played, they're guys that have the ball in their hand. And he took it personal tonight. He went out there and played and showed like, hey, man, I need to be on the All-Star. I need to be starting on the All-Star team. I need to be leading the race for MVP as well.
You know what, Eddie, it also felt like the Celtics team, they were a little bit embarrassed about what happened on Tuesday against OKC, because we weren't just talking about it here in Boston. People were talking about it all around the NBA. Everybody was scratching their heads trying to figure out how Boston allowed OKC to put up 150 points. How much did it seem that the Celtics were playing with a little bit of urgency, but also trying to prove a point that they are the best team in the NBA right now?
Well, you know, we all act like we don't read newspaper, or we don't get online and see what people say on Twitter, on Instagram, or we don't watch ESPN, we don't watch Fox Sports 1. Everybody act like they don't do that, but everybody does, right? And when they see that what's been said, yeah, you should take it personal, especially if you have the goal in mind of where you're trying to go, and that's win a championship. You should take it personal. You should look back and reflect and be like, we can't let that happen. And things like that do happen throughout the season, right? But you don't let them compound on each other. You don't have it. Don't normally it's not a back-to-back type of thing. And they did nip it in the bud, right? They had the bad play against Denver. They went out and laid an egg against OKC, but they came out against Denver and they righted the ship. They made sure that they got back on the right track, and they played hard. And that's really what it boils down to is, remember, you're not competing against the other teams more than you're competing against yourself. So night in and night out, you got to be focused and have laser sharp focus, because the other teams are going to have that against you.
The Celtics definitely came in with a chip on their shoulder in this matchup. All right, let's send out to Abby Chin, who's with Malcolm Brogdon after the game.
Malcolm, you said on Tuesday night after that loss in Oklahoma City, it was a wake-up call. What does this kind of response, a 29-point win over the hottest team in the NBA, say about this team?
I think it speaks to our maturity. I think some nights like OKC, our maturity lets us down a little bit, but man, when we play the best, we really do beat the best. We bring our best performances against them, but we got to do this consistently, night in, night out.
A few starters navigating foul trouble. You and Grant got the call early. Do you think that helped to kind of spark a rhythm for you?
Yeah, I think it sparked a rhythm for me, and it sparked a rhythm for Grant and the team overall. I think when guys can come off the bench on any team and produce and be a spark, I think it helps your team all night long.
And then Luka Doncic, the last 6 games coming into this one, averaging nearly 45 points a game. How were you guys able to keep him in check?
Being physical with him, trying to keep him off the line, trying to make him take tough shots and not get people involved. And I thought we did a good job of that tonight.
Jason, just his second triple-double of his career. How was he able to impact the game all over the place tonight?
Man, his poise. I think he's taken a huge jump from last year. I thought he had a great year, was a great player last year, but he's an MVP this year. His poise, I looked up, he had 4 points maybe in the first quarter. He never gets rattled, he never gets rushed, he never gets panicked for points or stats. He lets the game come to him. He's a great player, man, and we're following his lead.
And you told me right before we went on camera, why is this such a big win?
Man, this is a really good team that we played tonight, but I think more for ourselves. Once again, we proved we can beat the best, but we got to do it consistently.
Malcolm, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Scal joining us live from Dallas right now. Scal, 29 assists for the Celtics against the Dallas Mavericks. How much more engaged did Boston look in this matchup versus Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, when you hit the paint the way they do multiple times on a possession, from my understanding of watching this team or watching around the NBA, when you're constantly attacking and moving the ball, you're getting wide open shots. I do believe you'll have, 27 to 35 assists on a night. And I just thought most of the assists were coming off of the attack. And when you attack, it puts teams on their heels. And then when you do that, I feel like you can get any shot you want, especially with the roster that the Celtics have.
Eddie, how did the Celtics moving the ball tonight with those 29 assists allow them to get the shots they wanted?
Before I address that, I do want to address, I don't like how Scal and Grandy was sneak dissing me on the broadcast the whole night.
They
were sneak dissing me. They were sneak dissing me out there. They kept on saying, "Oh yeah, in the pregame somebody said this and won't that."
I did catch that.
Come on, man. Like,
look, they didn't even drop any names.
Call me out.
Eddie,
I'm about to say they didn't even drop any names.
But Eddie,
they were sneak dissing me. And the fact of what I was saying, Scal, and you understand this. This is all I was saying about that.
Okay.
The way that we lost, and I texted you this, and we could screenshot. You know how they like to pull up and have receipts, right? I texted you and said it was the way that we lost. You could get outplayed nights, but you can't get outworked. You know what I mean? We had got outworked back-to-back nights. Tonight we went out there and outworked the Dallas Mavericks, and that's the reason why we looked the way we did and won the we did. Even if we didn't make the threes the way we did, we still got stops on the other end and created more opportunities, took care of the basketball and shared the basketball. So that's what I was saying. So I feel like moving forward, like them 2 games in the rear view, like I said in the pregame. So say everything, but don't be sneak dissing me on the under. I don't like that.
I'm not. No, but Eddie, I know you've been a part of teams that are really good, and you just have a night like that. That's just how it goes. I don't know. I don't know your selective memory, but
those nights don't get combined, though, Scal. It don't go blow. It normally doesn't go back-to-back nights and where you don't have energy. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I just think you got to. I think the league
multiple nights.
So did you? If you watched last night, did you see Milwaukee? They're obviously a championship level team that has some guys out. I mean, they blew a 21-point lead.
Milwaukee.
I mean, that's fine. If you think like the Warriors, they lost to 50.
They still ended up winning that game, though. I mean, the Bucks still ended up winning.
Come on, Amina.
They still ended up winning that game. All right. You can talk about blowing a 20-point lead, but they still won the game. They didn't get put up 150 points. That's a little bit different, Scal.
Talk heavy, Amina.
It's different. Okay, well, let's go Memphis. Memphis Grizzlies up 50 points on the Golden State Warriors during the playoffs. Like, you guys act like that didn't happen. It did happen.
Ja Morant got hurt, though. Remember that. If Ja don't get hurt, we get hurt.
And you're also talking about the playoffs. And you're also talking about the playoffs as well. I think that's a different situation.
Why is that different?
Because,
why is that different?
You should not be getting beat by OKC, having them put up 150 points in January. I don't care what part of the year it is. I'm just saying, come on,
I'm sorry,
then
y'all just don't get the league then. If that's what you believe, that a team like that, y'all just don't get the league. I'm just saying that, if you guys think that you can never do that, you don't get the league. That's it.
No, stop. We'll keep going back and forth off the air. Look at that final score, 124-95.